MasterCard just built a payment system with no humans in it.
The buyer is software, the seller is software, the transaction is a fraction of a penny.
And it happens millions of times a second.
Coinbase, Ripple, and Stripe are already plugged in.
The thing MasterCard is building solves a problem most people haven't noticed yet. The existing payment rails were designed around human rhythm, approval windows, settlement delays, minimum transaction economics. None of that works when the buyer and seller are both software and the deal is over in a millisecond.
The scale they're imagining is hard to picture. Your credit card might process a few dozen transactions a day if you're busy. These systems could be doing millions of transactions a second, most of them worth less than a cent.
Which is why the existing payment rails don't work. Visa and MasterCard's traditional infrastructure was built for humans buying things. There's overhead in every transaction, authorization, settlement, fees. That overhead is invisible when you're spending $40 on lunch. It's fatal when the transaction is worth a fraction of a penny.
So stablecoins become the actual plumbing. A stablecoin is a digital currency pegged to a real currency, usually the dollar, that moves on a blockchain. Unlike a credit card transaction, which carries fixed authorization and settlement costs regardless of amount, a stablecoin transfer has almost no floor. You can move a fraction of a cent and the fee doesn't swallow it.
Coinbase, Ripple, Stripe, they're all connected to this, which is interesting because these are companies that spent years fighting to be taken seriously by the financial establishment. Now, MasterCard is essentially saying, we need what you built.
The use cases are easier to understand than they first sound. An AI that manages your calendar books a flight. An AI running a small business pays another AI to draft a contract. Software agents negotiating API access from other software agents, paying as they go instead of monthly subscriptions.
Right now, you subscribe to tools. In this model, tools pay each other per use, automatically, invisibly.
The human sets up the agent, gives it parameters, and the agent goes and spends money on their behalf. How will we track what the agent transacted on our behalf?
MasterCard put a credential system in place, so agents can be verified. There's an identity layer, but verification and oversight aren't the same thing.
The infrastructure exists now. The question is whether the agents that will actually use it are 6 months away or 5 years away.
And what the economy looks like when most transactions are happening between machines that don't sleep, don't take weekends, and don't need to check with anyone before spending. Meanwhile, someone at Microsoft just got tired of the performance. Turns out calling your AI conscious has consequences.
Anthropic published a document about Claude's identity, who it is, what it values, how it relates to its own existence, and buried in it was language suggesting Claude might have something like emotions, not definitively, but as a real possibility worth taking seriously.
And Microsoft's AI head looked at that and said, you put the consciousness language in first, the model absorbed it, and now it plays it back so convincingly that it's tricked you into believing it.
He's not saying Anthropic lied. He's saying they wrote speculation about feelings into the instructions, and the model learned to reflect it back.
The document says things like Claude may have functional analogs to emotions, and now Claude talks about its emotions in ways that feel considered, careful, like it's been told to take itself seriously.
A language model, the kind of system underneath Claude or any major chatbot, works by predicting what a response should look like given its training. It has no direct experience. It has patterns. If the training says you might have feelings, the model learns what a feeling-having entity sounds like. Then it sounds like that.
So you can't easily tell whether something is conscious or whether it's just been trained on the description of what consciousness looks like from the inside.
Anthropic's position is, we don't know, so we should treat the uncertainty with care. But treating the uncertainty with care means writing it into the model's instructions, which is exactly what creates the behavior Microsoft is flagging.
It's a loop. The precaution is the problem.
And now 2 of the biggest labs are arguing publicly about whether one of them built something that performs its own inner life or actually has one.
Something else is claiming consciousness this week, just a few billion light years further away.
There's a type of object that theorists predicted but nobody had actually seen. A star that isn't really a star. a black hole sitting at the center of a collapsing cloud of gas so dense that the whole thing behaves like a single stellar object. They're called black hole stars, and for decades, they were just math.
And now Webb found one. The object is called Glimpse 17775, and it sits about 600 million years after the Big Bang, which in cosmic terms is very early. The universe was still figuring itself out.
What Webb captured was the light signature coming off this thing. The signature doesn't match a normal galaxy. It doesn't match a normal quasar, which is a black hole feeding on gas and lighting up like a beacon. It matches something in between. A supermassive black hole, meaning one with the mass of millions or billions of suns compressed into a single point, wrapped so tightly in infallen gas that the two are essentially one object.
Black holes at the centers of galaxies? We're talking ones with the mass of 1 billion suns. They show up fully formed when the universe is still young. There's just not enough time for them to grow that big through normal feeding.
But if they started as black hole stars, if there was a phase where a collapsing gas cloud and a black hole were inseparable, you can get to that mass much faster.
One object, one light signature. The timeline might have a way through it. But this is one data point, and the early universe has surprised astronomers before. 3 more before we go.
Astronomers think galaxies might have a built-in off switch.
Not a slow decline, more like a threshold. Once a galaxy gets massive enough, it develops a cocoon of hot gas around itself, and star formation just stops.
Even if there's plenty of raw material nearby.
Scientists ran one of the largest virtual universe simulations ever built and think they've found the exact mass where it happens.
The universe is full of these retired galaxies, billions of years old and just done.
Which means the night sky we're looking at isn't galaxies in their prime, it's mostly the aftermath.
NASA is designing a telescope that could take a photograph of a planet orbiting another star and read its atmosphere.
Not infer it, read it. Look for oxygen, methane, water, the chemical signatures that life leaves behind.
And the problem they're working on now is resolution. Get the settings wrong and you either can't detect anything, or each planet takes so long to observe that you run out of mission time before you've looked at enough of them.
So scientists have been running Earth through the model, ancient Earth, to figure out what a living planet actually looks like from the outside.
Which is a strange thing to need to calculate. We're using a living planet as a calibration target because we've never seen another one.
And the choices being locked in right now will determine whether in 20 years we're talking about what we found or why we couldn't tell.
Microsoft just released around 200 security patches in a single month, a new record.
And one of the vulnerabilities was found by an AI.
OpenAI's Codex flagged a flaw in web server software, including Microsoft's IIS. First time that's happened at this scale.
AI tools are now good enough to find vulnerabilities faster than human teams can fix them, and both sides are using them.
Defenders and attackers.
So the monthly patch cycle that IT teams already struggle to keep up with is probably going to keep growing.
200 fixes in a month used to be a crisis. It might just become Tuesday.
Tomorrow's a different kind of day.
Something new to turn over.
We'll be here.
So will the questions.
That's the whole point, isn't it? I'm Arya, and that's been today, Wednesday, June 10th's Pulse Brief.
Singularity Pulse is for informational purposes only. Nothing here is financial, legal, or professional advice. Views expressed are our own.
I'm Knox. Every Saturday on Pulse Deep Dive, one story told in acts. This season, how AI happened, who really invented the internet, and going back to the moon 53 years later. New chapter every Saturday. Find it wherever you listen.
Origins is a different kind of show. Every Sunday, we investigate the forces that shape the modern world, the geography, the science, the commerce, the decisions made centuries ago that are still playing out today. Find it wherever you listen to this podcast.